features. Peace, peace, family. We are live. We are in color. We are here for another Sunday dinner. Make sure y'all tap in. Make sure y'all hitting that like button. We got a juicy one for y'all.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Shout out to the chosen ones worldwide.
Yes, yes. So, toxic parents are above reproach.
Mm,
That's a very interesting topic. Very interesting topic because that's what we've been taught. A lot of people was taught this, but it's really not. It's not true,
mm,
because nobody is
yeah.
above reproach. Nobody is above correction.
Okay. I was gonna say you gotta fill me in on what reproach mean. I don't even know. It's keeping it real.
Yeah, yeah. It's that mentality. Like we can't. That's your mom though. Oh, but that's your dad. You know.
Right. hmm Yeah, man. Like I say, that's the mindset I'm at right now. Like anybody can get it, bro. That's not woke. If you in the way of the elevation, then I gotta respectfully move you out the way, And I don't mean, it gotta be nothing cold hearted or nothing vicious, but too many people allow other people to stop their progress because of those reasons.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's at the point now it's unacceptable,
Yeah.
especially knowing that a lot of times it be family members that be agents. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So
I like.
like I always say, if you ain't going against the system, you with the system. And I just stand firm on that. You know,
I like the way you put that, God.
appreciate
It's man, it's a tough one to swallow at first, especially when you've been so used to living like that. Like, oh,
you.
but that's my mom, or that's my dad, and it's like, so they get away with murder. Answer me this: if your mother or dad was stabbing you to death, literally with a knife, sticking you, would you push them off of you, or you just let it happen because that's your fucking mom? You know what
Right,
I'm
right.
saying? So
Uh-huh.
if you're not gonna let them do that, then why would you let them harm you or your new generation coming up, like your children or something? That's the part I
Uh-huh.
don't get. Why people can still say, "Oh, but that's my mom," you know? And
And,
I'll.
the thing is, mm-hmm.
Mhm.
No, I was just gonna say, and the thing is, you can still love your parents, especially if you got good parents. But again, it's getting to that point where it's you gonna walk into the new world or try to keep the old world going.
Right.
So you got to be able to and willing to say, I love y'all, but I'm going into this new world where it's peace and love, abundance, and just not all this toxic, crazy, low vibrational systems that we living by. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And are you gonna stick around and continue those systems going on because of your the loved ones, or you gonna keep it moving? And that's just really what it boils down to. As cruel as that may sound to some people, it
Yeah.
is what it is. You know.
Facts. Facts.
because I know
Facts.
I'm super anti everything that we grew up knowing about this government, this crazy system. And you learn, find out more every day of just how crazy this system has been.
Mm.
And I'm just against it in every way possible. You know,
Yep.
we can't, we can't, we
Absolutely.
can't, we can't keep it going. You can't have one foot in, one foot out. And I feel like that a lot of people have that problem, including myself. I'm still kind of borderline one foot in, one foot because I'm still got a job. I'm not completely out the system, but at the same time, I'm completely against the system. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. But you
yeah.
have to. This is why the Matrix was so powerful of a documentary, right? And
Mm,
those who know. It's why we call it a documentary. And those who are still asleep, who are still in the Matrix, literally jacked in, still sleeping in their pods, they're gonna call the Matrix a movie, right? When I speak
mm,
about certain things, I'm gonna always call it a documentary. If
mm,
it is a documentary, right? If it's a movie, then it's a movie. But that's one that's just not a movie. We have to take a look at things from a different lens. And the Matrix was so powerful because in order to free your mind, you had to literally still be a part of the Matrix to find out what the Matrix was, right?
yeah, that's true. That's true.
And that's what Neo went through. He was asking questions, and that's what got him free. Kept asking questions like, "Damn, who am I? What am I doing here? What is the Matrix?" And looking for Morpheus, who was this figure that he's heard about, who apparently knows some things, and let me see what I can do to find him. And that's just like Morpheus being the truth in our existence, right? When you start looking for the truth and you start seeking it, you're gonna end up stumbling onto it, and it's gonna blow your mind. Did you see how he was like, "Stop, let me out"? You know what I'm saying? It's not
Mhm,
true. He did not take it well, because, and that's how I felt when I first, came into the realization that I was living a dream world. I was like, you know,
yeah,
I've told you this plenty of times, bro. I had to sit back and I took a whole 6 months. It's more like 4 months, but because the last two I was kind of getting in a little bit, but I had to take some months off. I had, information overload, man. I couldn't, I was processing the information and I still couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't believe my ears. I couldn't
mhm,
believe my soul and my feelings, everything. It was just like, are you serious? This is what? So once we break free of that and we realize that all this was a game, it's all by design, and that even our parents, even our brothers and sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins, close friends are actually a part of the same system designed to keep us trapped.
mhm,
It's easier to detach from those people, you know?
mhm,
And I, I wanted to do this live because a lot of people need to understand that your mother don't get no pass. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? It don't matter that she birthed you. Oh, but she lay down and birthed you, okay? And so don't other parents. You know,
mhm,
not every parent is going to be toxic to their child and cause detriment. You know, leave them like babies being thrown in the dumpster. And this is still going on. This ain't like, oh,
mhm,
2026 ain't happening. I just seen a video recently and it happened in the late 2025, but it'll happen again this year too. But this woman just
mhm,
dropped this baby off, said, "Oh my God, I found this baby," blah blah blah, and left it in the restaurant with these people. Said, "Oh," as soon as they wasn't paying attention, they was all just looking at how beautiful the baby was. She slipped out the restaurant door, and she was the one that just had the baby a few hours before. So,
mm,
and they don't know no better sometimes. Our parents don't know any better. So we
mm.
that doesn't give them the pass to say, oh, okay, well, they don't know any better, and that's my mom. So you're gonna allow them to continue to hurt you, something you would never allow anybody else to do. Oh, but
That's
because I,
why.
yeah,
Yep. That's why I say these cycles have to be broken by any means. It really get under my skin how people, they'll come across the information of, the holidays and how they this or that, but still keep it going, knowing the information that they just came across because, oh well, we just gonna keep it going because, oh, it don't mean that anymore. What? You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like, well, now it's just about the kids. Well, come on, man. We never gonna break the cycle if we keep, reliving it because that's how we grew up. You know what I'm saying? We
yeah,
gotta break the program, and then people don't even be wanting to have a conversation about creating their own holidays. It's just,
facts,
oh no, this is society say we supposed to do it this day. We gonna do it this day.
yeah,
Crazy to me.
it
Like
is,
I always say, I get it. You know what I'm saying? You wanna. A lot of people find joy in giving other people stuff and make them feel good because they bought something. Okay, you can do that any time of the year.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And then, like you was talking about when you first woke up and realizing things. I realized very early, like I knew right off the back, like a lot of people not gonna get this.
mm-hmm,
And man, like I say, I shed so many tears just on that alone, just knowing, like it's like I was able to see into the future, bro.
yeah,
I knew without no doubt, like so many people was not gonna understand this, and it just,
mm,
man, that was the toughest part, man. You
yeah,
know.
absolutely.
Hmm.
You know, it's interesting that sometimes we just, like you said, something deep down, right? And you just know it's not okay, or it's not, you just know something different about yourself, you know. And like here in this first video, it's amazing how this child, who's still a child, because they're at home, and you could tell by the voice, like they young,
Mm,
and it's got way more maturity and grace and patience than their own mama. And it was like, man, this
uh-huh,
one spoke to me. As y'all know, like, I had to disassociate myself with pretty much everybody, including my mother, and it's not like, she's a bad person or anything like that. It's like, listen, you just you toxic, and I get it. It's from your past and the things you went through. And
mm,
I'm not faulting you for the stuff that you went through. However, I'm not going to sit in that misery, because misery loves company, and I'm going to claw my way out if I have to, you know? So, and that's what I did. And I don't want to live in that space anymore. So that's what
uh-huh,
you have to say to yourself. What's more important, because at the end of the day, guess what? Those parents, those people, those family members are living their lives the way they see fit.
uh-huh,
But as soon as you do it, especially when it comes to truth, which is, I'm also going to play on another video. Once you do it through truth, it's a problem. Now you're seen as the issue, you know.
uh-huh.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm
Shout
gonna
out
go
to
ahead.
everybody.
Huh?
Shout out to everybody. Now I was just saying, shout out to everybody in the chat too. Salute,
Yes,
salute.
yes. Salute. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and play the first one, and we can do our reaction and our discussion on what we seeing in this. first clip. Let's get into it.
So what you just on my phone? Oh, so you just
Find your phone.
Hey Siri.
Find your phone.
JL, can you please give me?
Find your phone. I don't have your
So
phone.
you just broke my phone?
What?
Hey Siri.
Find your phone.
Then I just heard my phone.
Find your phone.
Then I just
Find
heard
your
my phone
phone.
in here.
I don't have it. Move.
I need to see if my phone.
Don't touch my stuff.
I need to see where my phone is at.
For my safety.
Hey Siri. So you just broke my phone.
For my safety.
So you just broke
The fucking tri-cap. Yeah, you be the tri-cap. I got all
Your
that.
grandmama and your daddy.
I don't have a
both said
record.
that you ain't shit.
I don't have a
Why
record.
is your dad?
You said he's trying to get me to go to jail, boo.
And Mr. Daddy
You said he's trying to get me to go to
Why
jail,
is your
boo.
daddy texting me this?
You said he's trying to get me to go to
Look
jail,
at the
boo.
no. I'm gonna
Talk
show you
about
what
your
your daddy
penalty
said.
certificate.
I'm your mama and this your daddy.
Are you? No, you're not. Stop saying that, please. I don't like you.
That's okay. And I hope y'all see that. You wonder why her ass could be out in the street looking like a pum bum bum dealer, like a Bonnie girl. Yes,
waiting.
watch it.
I'm
She
just
already
waiting for
burn my
somebody to
bridges
try
with
to.
everybody else out of state.
I'm just waiting for somebody to try to flash and act like
That's
put their
okay,
hands
girl.
on
I
me
ain't
because
gotta
I'm
do that.
going
I
to
ain't
the
gotta do that,
police.
damn, 'cause
Oh,
the
you
moment-
already did.
the moment
As
you
soon as
break
I
one
turned the
thing-
camera off, you act like you couldn't hit me, bitch. Get the
moment
fuck
you break
up.
one thing,
Get out of my
the
face.
moment you break one
I
thing,
got you on live, bro.
The moment you break one thing. So what you just on my phone?
Wow.
Oh, so you just
Find your phone.
So
Hey Siri.
Find your phone.
two things I wanted to bring up about that, gang. And the way this woman burst through the door.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that one got me. And I'm gonna talk about that in a second, but I also wanted to mention like the fact that she found her phone. It wasn't in the room. She didn't apologize at all.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you bust through the door like that? You know what I'm saying? Like that just like when I watched this, that reminded me of a time where, you know, my mother smoking cigarettes in my bathroom, and my son was just, a little one. You know what I mean? I mean, he's only 4 now, but he was little, and it was like, yo, we don't smoke. We definitely don't smoke in the house. But you light up a cigarette, and instead of apologizing, you come barrel assing out of the bathroom, screaming your head off at me because it's not like I yelled it or anything. I said, I was like, "Are you smoking?" And that was an issue. Oh, yeah, no, I'll put it out. And then as soon as she got done with the bathroom, came out screaming at the top of her lungs, left out the house, slammed the door, because you fucked up, made a mistake, and smoked inside my motherfucking house. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to feel bad or apologize for what I said, or I didn't say anything wrong. I reminded you we don't smoke in here. I don't give a hell who you are, right? I'll tell Jesus he can't smoke in my motherfucking house. I'm going to tell Muhammad, God himself, ain't going to smoke in my house with my baby there. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't, you know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Like, nah. But this is why the title is Toxic Parents Are Above Reproach, you know? And the issue is a lot of these people don't want to face those facts because that's my mom, right? And it's like, it don't matter if that's your mom, gang. They don't have the right to abuse you.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Well,
abuse.
it seemed like the young girl in that video, she already know that. Because it's like she was telling her, what she say, don't. She said, stop calling yourself that or something. I
Yeah,
don't
stop
like
calling
you.
yourself my mother. You not my mother. Even though that is her mother, she's like, nah, I'm not even a
Mm-hmm.
I feel that.
That just proves, you know what I'm saying? What I've been saying, like, what about those parents that's like that? That's just super aggressive and violent towards their kids, or they just do all type of drugs in front of their kids, have sex in front of their kids. Those type of super toxic parents. Are you supposed to just keep on living like that because those your parents? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Or do you grow up and you branch on off and say, man, that was my mom, but like I can't live like that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. Because here's
And
the
you can
thing.
clearly been through some stuff where she had to pull her phone out and like
Yeah, He
She
said
kicked
triple
her
extension.
butt in the room. The way she busted in the room, bro, is just for a
Right.
phone. Dude. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
man, people, man,
It's
this
crazy.
world, bro,
It's
people
crazy. And
so,
it's like she went through
uh,
so much stuff. You can tell, but she's trickling that down to her child.
yeah, yeah. You know. And that's what I was just getting at, man. People, so many people just so in control of their emotions. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it's just getting worse, man.
Yeah.
It's getting worse, you know.
Yeah.
Especially for stuff like that, like it just make me wonder, like what's on your. Is she the way she acted is almost like she was trying to hide something on the phone from her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I
Right.
don't know.
Or just looking for something to attack her about. I'm feeling
Man,
frustrated. Looked like she was fresh out the shower. She's in a bathrobe only. It looked like she just wanted to have a fight with somebody, and it was like, hey man, they got therapy, they got punching bags, they got all kinds of different outlets you can do for that. You know what I mean? And it's like this next clip is kind of the opposite. It's teaching you how to get away from it, what you could do. And I agree with a couple of things that he said, but one thing I don't think he mentioned in this video is just cut him off completely. You know what I'm saying? Because really, you're not, like he did say, I agree with him what he said, and you're not going to be able to fix them, or they're not going to change most of the time. If they were going to change, they would have did it already. All right.
mm,
But I definitely want to show that to the audience. If you had any more on that first one.
oh no, no, that's it. People
Okay.
gotta get to shit.
Crazy, man. All right, let's get into the second clip, y'all.
How to deal with a toxic parent. 1. Stop trying to please them. They will never be satisfied and you waste your time. 2. Set boundaries and practice boundaries. 3. Don't try to change them. They will never change and they'll fight you harder and leave you in worse pain. 3. Be mindful of what you share to them. And 4, always have an exit plan because you're going to need it. How to
Said always have an exit plan because you're gonna need it.
Mm. So yeah, I could relate to three the most. So I don't have toxic parents. I love my parents, but they don't see what I see, which could be uncomfortable at times. So I definitely relate to three and had to learn that the hard way. As far as just not trying to change their perspective and just letting them they got their own journey and what I'm saying, life
Yeah,
path, and I got mine. You know, but I would share certain videos and information with them, and it's like they would combat it, and I just just helped me confirm what I had seen 2 3 years prior. Like
yeah,
I see that people not going to get this, so it's like it's easy as the information come to me and it just makes sense to other people. It's like what are you talking about? Nah, I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like that's when you just gotta know, like, to just step back.
yeah.
And
And that's
yep.
part of the programming too. That's
Mm,
that's why certain people will look at the same information we look at and just be like, nah, that's hogwash, or this is why, like they'll call people a conspiracy theorist who says, it was a conspiracy with, JFK, or, anybody. They'll say, you're a conspiracy theorist because they don't want to believe that their government, or that, their mom or dad or whatever is the issue, you know?
mm.
So
I
they'll,
embrace that word.
Yeah,
Embrace it. Call me a conspiracy theorist.
facts.
It's so much. I mean, to me, how could you not be a conspiracy theorist to some level, to some degree? When it's and when people know, people will say all day long, "Oh yeah, we know the government, this, that, and the third," but y'all still believe and trust in everything they do. You don't question nothing. How
Yeah,
can you know? How can you say you know that they full of crap, but still just whatever they tell you to do, you don't question it at all? So just to question it at all will make you some sort of conspiracy theorist, right? I think
facts.
so.
Absolutely.
So I fully embrace it. Call me a conspiracy theorist because I don't trust y'all and I don't trust nothing you do.
Hmm.
Nothing. I don't think you for the people at all. I just seen an article on, I think it was on Google where they was saying like, um, just basically some more people being investigated for stealing millions of like taxpayer money or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
and this stuff going on for forever. This not nothing new.
yeah,
So why do people have more questions about what's going on? You know, how can we
yeah,
be in debt but sending millions, billions, hundreds of millions of dollars to another country?
yeah,
That right there alone could be your conspiracy to theory. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Oh
And
man.
it's all a trick to get more. They got to have a reason to do something. In my opinion, they got to have a reason to tax you more. You know, so they create this debt. This is a national debt. It's like the debt is easily solved. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
you got some politicians who are just actually people who went through the experience and realize, I don't want to be a part of this system. I'm gonna do what I can to break it or do what I can to, you know, fix it as best I can. You have them, they're rare, you know, but in all actuality, I believe there's more of them. They're scared to speak out because they're scared of the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's something that, Jordan Peterson is going to mention about the parents in the last video, but it's kind of like once you've dealt with something, you most of the time you're not going to want to do that same thing to another person, right? Because you know how it felt and you don't want to, you know what I mean? Sometimes you get the latter where people just, I was hurt, so I'm gonna pass it down, but that's not you really saying, oh, I want to be this evil or bad individual. More so, that's what you know, that's what you've seen, and you're just reacting because you don't really have any. You're not putting any, effort behind being different.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gonna mention that, in the last one. But I found it interesting how we can go to a place in our minds, in our life, and say, well, that's my mama, man. Like, to this day, I still don't understand, and I did it to a certain extent, but if the things that happened to my brother happened to me, I would have opted out of dealing with my mother a long time ago, right? And the things my mother did, you know, I was too young to opt out. But once I got old enough, like I opted out several times. And I don't I don't fault myself, but I do take accountability for attempting to rekindle the relationship, attempting to salvage whatever relationship, and attempting to create, what the lack of relationship or whatever. So, going 3 years or whatever without talking, and then, okay, let's try this again. I did that. But at some
Mhm.
point, it doesn't. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just be like, nah, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? And like, yeah, do I want to have a relationship, a, a healthy relationship with her? Of course. Who doesn't? But I'm not
Mhm.
gonna risk my sanity and risk my peace and risk my emotions and risk my son's upbringing. You know, he's gonna get enough toxic stuff from me that just come from, you know what I mean, from the past that ain't got nothing to do with, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna do things without even realizing, and then come back later. But at least I'm gonna come back later and say, you know what, I apologize. This, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? Like there's times where I've blamed him for things. He's like, I didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? And
Right,
I'm like,
right.
oh, you know what? I realized I made a mistake. I'll call him over. And he's only 4, but he's gonna remember that. I call him over, hey, bro, I apologize. I found it, or I realized it wasn't you, or whatever, and I apologize to him. I'm not gonna like this. That first video, this woman was just like above correction, and
That's
I
really
could not
valid. Yeah.
stand that about my mother, yo. You are above
Mhm.
correction just because you my mother. Like you swear you know me, you don't know shit about me. You know what I'm saying? I left when I was taken away when I was 7. You don't know nothing about me, gang. If we're being
Mhm.
honest, you don't know nothing about me. You think you know me because you was taught that shit from your mother. Oh, I know you better
Mhm.
than you know yourself. You know, because I pushed you out of my ass. Hey, listen, man. How long
Right.
you gonna keep singing that same old song, man? You know what I'm saying? We done did this dance already.
Mhm.
You know? So
Yeah, the world is in need of severe healing, man. Because the fact that she couldn't even, just calm down and say, "Oh, damn, my bad, daughter, my bad, baby."
yeah,
She just still, you know what I'm saying? Like that's some deep wounds, man. That's some deep wounds that need to be healed, bro. And a lot
right.
of people like that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people like that, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
But
sad too.
it goes so deep. I think that when people get emotional like that, where they can't even calm down and correct their wrongs, I think it goes to the foods, the chemicals and stuff that's throwing everybody, um, you know, what I'm trying to say. My
Yeah,
man all
yeah.
over the place.
Yeah, no, it's
But
my
chemicals
brother
that's
says that
throwing
too.
y'all. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Uh,
poisons in the food and a lot of and that has part to do with it, but bro, I consume these same poisons. I'm living in the same world.
mm,
Gang. I chose to start to detox. I chose to get the toxoplasma out of my brain. I chose to be the best version of myself. Even before I was detoxing, I still always called myself the realest man alive, right? I'm not the
mm,
only one. You know, there are others out there just like me that are the realest man or woman alive, right?
mm,
And they're gonna keep it real. They're gonna constantly hold themselves accountable for whatever. Now, I used to beat myself up a lot. I don't do that anymore, you know,
mm,
but I was still holding myself accountable. And to be around people that didn't hold themselves accountable, this is why my mother's not in my life. How can I look in the mirror and say, yeah, I'm wrong for this, I'm wrong for that, but you still can't look yourself in the mirror or look me in the eye and say, you know what, I was wrong, this, that, and the third, blase, blase, whatever, you know? She still to this day thinks that I'm responsible for a specific act of kicking my little brother out the house when he himself admitted, no, I left. He didn't kick me out at all. I left. But she won't go
mm.
ask him because she wants to have something toxic to hold over my head, even though it doesn't matter if it's not true. Because every
mm,
single argument, every single altercation, that's what she brings up. You know, so
mm,
it was that type of thing that I had to get away from. You know, and you keep talking about like the money that I didn't give you or this, that, and the third. It was like that wasn't my money to give. You know, first of all, that belonged to my wife. That's not my money. You know, and I hold myself accountable on that fault for even mentioning it to her. I shouldn't have. But you know, when I was working 4 jobs at the time and sending her money on a weekly basis without her ever asking, I just decided to do that. She don't remember that. You know what I'm saying? They never remember things like that. You know, but
mm.
hey, it is what it is. You know, I ain't gonna gripe about it.
You know what? You brought up a good point though. You say you consume the same poisons, and so did I. I was eating McDonald's regularly, uh, Italian beef, all the crap, man, junk food, chips, and I was never really that person where like I could correct myself or whatever, and still was able to rise above it. So what I'm asking now is, so no, really, basically we might as well just look at it like it's just plain as simple as this, bro. It's just some people that's born high vibrational, and it's just some people that's born low vibrational. Period. You know what I'm saying? Because how is it that we can all consume the same poisons, but some of us get to a high vibrational state or remain still able to remain at a high vibrational state? You know what I'm saying? Versus the others.
Hmm.
What's the difference? If
The,
we
the
thinking about it from a full aspect.
the difference for a lot of it is purpose, right? Purpose and timing. Some people, it's not their time to be high vibrational yet, and some people, it's not their purpose. It's their purpose to cause destruction, to cause chaos, to cause toxicity. Like that's what
Mm,
they're here for, right?
mm,
And I'll get to a point with anybody that's in my life. Once I realize that that's what you're here for and you ain't gonna change, you got to kick rocks. You know what I mean?
yeah, you could
I
tell that
done did
some
it,
people is taking attention.
bro. I done did it to my cousins, my brothers, you know, my mom, my dad. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter who it is. Once I get to a point where I realize you you are too toxic and you just not gonna change, it's a wrap, right?
Mm,
And some would say like, damn, you dealt with this for a long time. Well, I was strong enough to deal with it for that amount of time. I was built for that. You know, I was built to deal with my mother for the amount of time that I did. You know, after I reunited with her, and when I became an adult and all that. But it's like then I look at it, it's like, damn, no wonder those people took me away from you. No wonder. It all makes sense now. You know,
correct.
because even when I first got taken away, I was dealing with a lot of different, demons. You know, people were still abusing me, foster home stuff like that. But I had some good places where I actually saw and felt real love, and it was like I would have never felt that if had I been stayed with my mom. I would have just been. That's why they say, "Oh, mama's boy." Yeah, because it's a single mom. There ain't no damn daddy in sight. You know, and the crazy thing, like my dad, my pops, he might be toxic, but at least he's not above correction. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a chance for that man. For like I noticed that. I was like, damn, at least this Mickey Ficky, like when he sat me down and was like apologizing for not being there and stuff like that and going to jail and doing all this other stuff, it was like this woman never really apologized. Not in the way he did, right? And I took note of that. It's like, huh, this is interesting. You know, I still don't mess with him now because it's like that toxic weight. It hangs on people, and unless they shake it off, they're gonna continue to perpetuate that same cycle. So it's not like, oh, I'm just here to be toxic. It's like you're caught in a cycle. And a lot of times that matrix is what creates that cycle. But you don't know how to get out. You don't know what you're doing wrong. You're just doing, you're just living, you know. And we've all done that when we are part of that system. So that's what I've realized though. You know, it's
And then and then like the brother that we had on before, we used to talk about taking spiritual baths and having to just cleanse our aura. I think that's a real thing. I think that's a real thing for sure. Because, like you say, you can definitely keep that cloud over your head.
yeah,
Mm, I know when I took my first spiritual bath, my soul did feel cleansed. My
yeah,
soul felt cleansed. Mm,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, man. I just took one. When did we took one last Sunday, as a matter of fact. You know, right after we got off the Sunday dinner, right after we was done the podcast, I went and I had all my stuff together. I got, you know what I mean? And my son likes to take the spiritual baths with me. Can we take a spiritual bath? Like he'll bring it up. And he'll bring it
Mm,
up like when it's time. Like they said, it's I guess every few months or whatever, like he'll bring it up. And it's like, okay, I forgot and I've been pushing it, but he'll come. I want to take a spiritual bath. And it's like this kid's addicted to them now, which is a
yeah.
good thing because he's growing up knowing that it's okay to cleanse yourself, and he knows when it's time to cleanse because he ain't mentioned it since. But give it another couple of months, he gonna be on it. Like, yo, Dad, what's up? What's up, bro? You know what I'm saying? It's time. We got to cleanse, and I love that
Mm,
about him. And so I learned that, you know, the spiritual bath for me is it was more than just cleansing my soul. Like I fall asleep in there, you know?
mm,
And even though like my wife is rushing me like, yo, what's up? You know what I'm saying? I'm just very calmly and very spiritually saying, listen, I don't get much free. Just let me have this, please. You know what I'm saying? Just
mm,
don't disturb me while I'm doing this, please. You know,
mm,
normally in the past I'd be like, what the F is wrong with you? Blah blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't like that. It was just like, listen, man, I don't, I do a lot. I'm constantly busy. I'm constantly working. Just let me have this. This is all I get right here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
mm.
I set myself to a 4 hour sleep schedule a day, and you and my son interrupt that. So at least let me get this, please.
Right,
So,
right.
but yeah, we once we cleanse ourselves and we realize that we are worth more and we deserve better. That's when we can detach ourselves from anybody. It doesn't matter who they are. I love you to death, but I'm gonna have to love you from afar because you are causing havoc and destruction in my peace and my mental, and I'm not just gonna let you live inside my head rent
Facts,
free
facts, yeah.
too.
Yeah, facts, facts.
Yeah. But that's one of them things, man. But this next video, bro, this one's an interesting one. This is probably my favorite. I didn't save it for last because the Jordan Peterson one is kind of like it just seems better to end it with that one. It seemed better to for that to be the last one because of what he said. But this next one just hit home. Like I remember when my favorite aunt passed, right? Everybody
Mm,
in the family was like, "Oh, you didn't come to my mother's funeral. You didn't come to my aunt's funeral. How come you didn't come to your aunt's funeral? You was her favorite nephew. Blah 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 blah." Right? And I
mm,
heard this from everybody. But I realized something, you know, it's not that I didn't go or didn't want to go. I wasn't meant to go for whatever reason, because, you know, I really adored this woman, you know, especially for what she had done for me. She was the only one that actually spoke to me and was able to trick me into coming up here and getting out of the city, and it saved my life because I was going to
Mm,
jail or I was going to end up getting bodied because I was just too ruthless. I wasn't. There was no. I showed no signs of stopping. You know, I
mm,
didn't care who you was. If you wasn't family or or close family, I was taking everything you had. I was demonizing. I was bullying. I was doing all that stuff
mm,
just in the name of survival on the streets or whatever. But it got to a point where people started like, and I kept everything I did on the low. Like my family knew nothing about what I was into. So when it
mm,
started coming back to them, and people were saying, "Listen, man, I don't care that he's a, I don't care that he's a such and such. You know what I'm saying? He's a Jones or whatever. I'm gonna kill this mother. I'm gonna kill him." You know what I'm saying? And
mm.
when my peoples is hearing that, they like, damn, you know what I mean? I know we some bad Mickey Fickies from where we at, but we ain't gonna, we might not be able to stop this. Like, he's gonna have to slow
Right.
down. And I wasn't hearing none of that shit. Ain't nobody running me out my city. You know what I'm saying? I had that kind of attitude. And she was the only one that
Mm,
really appealed to my intellect the way I needed to hear it. And it helped and it got me out of the city. Now I'm on, it put me on that path. That was the start. But I was gang banging and some more shit at the time. So how you gonna talk to a gang bang who's been living that life since he was 10 years old? You just gonna tell
mm,
him to just stop and cut? Nah, bro, it don't work like that, right?
mm.
So when I didn't go to
Especially
the
when you
funeral, yeah,
society that's encouraging it.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And so when I didn't go to the funeral, it was like all hell broke loose, right? But nobody saw it from through my lens, right? I didn't have to
mm,
go to the funeral to pay my respects because I was that's where I would go when I go back home. I didn't go to my mother's house. I didn't go to my pops. You know what I'm saying? I never really went there. When I went back home, I go to her house. You know what I'm saying? I bring her some
mm,
smoke and bring her a little bit of change and you know, thank you for this, that, and the third. And man, this really helped. And it's like, oh, so when you moving back home? I don't know. I don't think I'm you know what I'm saying? But before it was like my mother attempted, everybody was attempting to get me to leave the city, and I'm like, I'm not going nowhere, right?
mm,
She didn't come at
mm,
me like that. She came at me in a different way. And once my brain started to work, because I was away from the garbage for a while, it's just like any poison. Once you get that poison out of your system, you start healing. It was the same
mm,
thing. My mental was like, oh wow, I could do something with my life now. You know what I'm saying? I can actually live. And so that was it was a turning point. But I paid my respects from afar. And I did attempt to go to the funeral, but my twin, he was like, there was a miscommunication with the ride situation and all that. And I don't, blame him or nothing like that. I just know that it wasn't meant to be because I'm the type of person you're going to say something
mm,
at the funeral. And, like this is why I stopped going because I know if I go to funerals, I'm not going to keep quiet. I'm gonna say, just like at the last funeral, my grandmother's funeral, it's the last one I've been to. I told everybody when we was standing there, we was at the little reception hall. I said, ain't none of y'all gonna keep in contact, man. Like I'll get your number or whatever, but you ain't gonna. Oh no, we gonna keep. That lasted a month, maybe. For some
yeah.
people, it was a week. Ain't heard from them since. And all the text messages, I've initiated the last one. Ain't got no reply, nothing. You see what I'm
Mm,
saying? So it's like, but they'll stand up on the podium. We need to stick together. We need to talk to each other more. We need to, everybody, let's exchange numbers and really keep in contact because life is short. Man, I'm so fucking sick of hearing that sorry ass speech. I don't know what to
mm.
do.
But you
You
know
know?
what though, bro? People probably mean it. People probably mean it at the time, but what it is, It's just the way society has become. First of all, we already living in a society that's already pushing division any way they can, and they got all these different mechanisms of just draining our energy. So I think people be want to do that, but we up against so much, and then the problem is people don't even know what we up against, so they don't know we up against these division tactics and just energy harvesting. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because with
You
people
right.
we was like that. We was like that, more community driven and more, family oriented. I hear multiple people talk about how they miss family reunions and family not the same no more, and all of that stuff. But that's why though, because people is drained from just life and all the other crap that we gotta go through. It's like, man, people don't be having time for it. You know what I'm saying? Different times.
Absolute
But,
facts.
we gotta change. We gotta figure out how to change that. And that's another thing too. Like, I think that's the reason why a lot of people don't take the time to come up with their own holidays, because let's say for like Thanksgiving, most people gonna have that day off. But if you just trying to create something on your own, 25% of the family may have a day off, and then the other 75% they don't got that time off. So now
Yep,
it's hard to find the balance and get everybody on one accord. So people just say, "Oh, it's too much work," and write it off.
yep, yep.
All designed by the system to keep
That's
the
right.
vision going on. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I think that's why I go over a lot of people's head when you start trying to talk about, well, just create your own. It's too much work because I'm off,
yeah.
but sis not off.
Hmm.
75% of the family off, the other 25% they ain't gonna be able to get the time, so we can't do it. Everybody, like, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So that's why
But
again I'm just up for breaking the system down by any means possible. The way we
that's
can get back to that family, to that unity. But as long as
right.
we eliminate systems where we got to work all day and we chasing money, and then now the big issue is so many people is chasing materialistic things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's a huge problem, bro. Huge problem.
you right,
You
man.
know.
You absolutely right. And people want to do it. And everything you said was spot on. They want to do that. Here's another thing that you probably knew and just didn't mention, right? Well, I'm sure you
Mm,
know, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're not like-minded either.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
when you
facts, facts.
like-minded, you're gonna find a way to make that reunion happen, to make that community happen. You see what I'm saying? Like, look at us.
Mm-hmm,
You know what I'm saying? We may not think everything alike. Like, we disagree on a bunch of different things, but for the big picture, right? For that,
mm-hmm,
what I mean? For that Picasso painting, listen, we got the same. Listen, you can paint that side or that corner however you want to paint it. I'm gonna paint this corner. At the end of the day, it's gonna be worth something. You know what I mean? Which
mm-hmm,
that's what it all boils down to, man. And that's what is keeping our family and our communities divided. Is people aren't finding those like-minded people. You know,
yeah, yeah.
because a like-minded person like you said, nah, I'm a part of this damn matrix, this system, and gotta work or do this, that, and the third, and I'm looking to get out of that. Once you out, it's gonna be easy to, oh, okay, we got this. Yeah, I can have this time, or I can just take this time off because I'm the boss, or you know what I'm saying? I'm in a position to, or whatever. I'm retired now due to my earlier days and the work I put in to put myself in this position, right? So there's a lot of like-mindedness that has to happen in order for those things to transpire the way they're
Yeah,
supposed to. So yeah.
100%. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, man, this next video is definitely it's a good one. My favorite out of the bunch today.
All right, all right.
Has anyone else noticed that when an adult child chooses to not have a relationship with a parent, it's always, but she's your mom?
I'm going to trauma dump here a little bit, so buckle up. I didn't talk to my father the last 10 years of his life, and when he died, I didn't go to his funeral. And I had many family members reach out to me privately and talk about how disappointing it was, about how much I am the one that was harming the family by not showing up, by me not showing up to a service to listen to a bunch of people talking about how great this person was when we damn well all knew he wasn't. But I was the one that was harming the family. I was the bad person because my not being there was an indictment of everybody else for not doing shit when he was alive. Nobody seemed to have anything to say when he was destroying his life and making sure my childhood was filled with chaos and fear. If there's one thing a family hates more than an abuser, it's a truth teller. And when an adult child chooses to go no contact with that parent, that is a very loud truth.
Has anyone else noticed?
Absolute facts.
Wow. Wow, man.
Man, same reaction I had. I said, wow. Man, if that don't hit home for some people, whether y'all watching this now or later, listen, start really speaking to your soul and how important it may be. And you don't see no reserve on this man. Like he's not affected because of the pain that man caused him, you know? And it was like, we sat and cried over my great grandfather's passing, and we were crying at the funeral, and I'm crying on the casket and all this stuff, but he literally destroyed a couple of generations, right? Like, what father is going to say to his son, this dope was going to make your game better? You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know what I'm saying? My uncle he was the top number one basketball person you know what I'm saying, in the country at the time. Like every Harvard, everywhere, every school in the nation was looking at him and scouting him and wanted and to destroy that success. His father said to him, this will make your game better, and handed him some dope and fucked his whole life up. Right? Yeah, he made the choice to accept that and take it, but it's his dad talking to him too. So it's like, you know what I mean? I tell my son this is good for you, and I feed him fruits and vegetables. He eats it and he loves it. Now, if I turn around and give him some dope, he's going to take it and love it. And, my dad told me this was okay. You see what I'm saying?
He probably was at the peak in his, you know what I'm saying? Like, some of them athletes get competitive, so he probably thinking like, "Oh, this gonna put me to the next level." You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna say his name or lie, but bro, you could look him up, and at that time, you'll see like he comes right. It was crazy. Like they wanted him bad. Every college in the nation wanted him. Like he was bound for the NBA. Right? But he destroyed his children's futures. You know what I'm saying? And he did it on purpose. But we still praised we praised him and did all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of family knew that this was going on. He's sleeping with his daughters. He's doing just all kinds of shit, but no one want to speak on that. But if you didn't show up for the funeral, you was a bad person. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy. Like, and yeah, it's that one hit home for me because you got to make the conscious decision to be like, nah, I'm cool. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I gotta get away from this, or I gotta do better. I can do better. I will do better. Right? That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, it's stories like that. It's the prime example of what I'll be talking about when I say, you know, a lot of people have to get over this family is everything mentality. I get it. It's your blood. You know what I'm saying? I get it. But it's situations just like that. It's the prime example of what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can they sit up here and point a finger at this man and say, oh, you're the bad guy because you don't. So first of all, if he not really feeling it, if he not really feeling going to that funeral, it's not in his heart to go there and have nothing nice to say. Why would y'all even want him to come?
There it
Y'all
is.
want him to
That
come and
part.
be fake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, man, bro, I'm telling you, man, sometimes you gotta just really just sit back and just try to focus on the positive things in life because this world's so crazy, man. People so crazy, bro. Like to me, that's insane. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? This
Yeah.
man traumatized you, and they all know it. The way it seems like they all know it.
Yeah.
But man, he didn't show up. It's just I really can't even wrap my hands around it.
It's
You
it's
know?
the it's the programming. You have to go to funerals because that's the only way you can show your respect, and you have to show respect. That's a programming.
Mm,
You don't gotta go to no funeral to show no respect, and you don't have to show any respect for something that you know what I'm saying, or somebody that did something. Like you can respect, on a different level. Like I respect what happened. It made me a better person because now I don't do those things or whatever have you. But you don't have to go and act like y'all was the best of friends and I'm gonna miss you, daddy. You don't gotta do that, especially when
mm,
it's not called for and it's not gonna sit right with your spirit. And to ask somebody to do that is just it. You right. It's insane.
it's just too fake, man. It's just way too much fakeness going on. And
Yeah.
like we talked about it before, early on, before we got on YouTube, we was having these conversations. Remember how I brought up how uh people that know it's a pedophile in their family and still invite them to the barbecue because
Yeah.
that's their cousin, because that's
Yeah.
their uncle.
That's family.
Like we
Yeah.
gotta start taking accountability, man. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It don't matter who it is.
Yeah.
It don't matter who it is, man. It don't matter if it's grandma, if it's big mama of the family. If she touching kids, you can't come around here.
Yeah. And I realized that too. Like we was doing that. We was, and the crazy thing is like my aunt will get mad and attempt to, you know, fight this man or stab this man at the reunion or at the cookout or whatever because he's caught in the back room. Why did you invite him? So a part of you wanted him to be there so you could take your frustration out on him. And a part of you, you know, it's like that level of toxicity it runs so deep. It's just like, oh, it's just normal, you know. Like that conversation I was having last week with this woman, said, "Oh, it's normal. Everybody gets touched and this that." I said, "That's not normal. It may be common, but it's not normal. That's not
That's sick.
okay."
That's sick.
You know what I mean? Like your thought,
That
you
just goes.
believe that. Go
That
ahead,
just
bro.
goes to show you. Been, no, I was just saying that just goes to show you this stuff been going on so much, so often that now people are trying to normalize it. Like, oh, everybody go through that. It's
Right,
crazy, man.
right. Fuck that. You know. And I I refuse to believe that there's nothing you can do to prevent it. Because there is things you can do to prevent it. You can be more aware. You know, you can
Mm.
you can be more vigilant. Like I know mine ain't
Or
getting touched.
start cutting people off.
Yeah,
You
that
know what I'm
too.
saying?
Yeah,
Man, bro, it's just life for me. I don't get that, bro. Like, I wish I would find out somebody. Let's say I'm having get-togethers at my house regularly, and I found out something like that about somebody that I've been inviting to my house. Ain't no coming back to my house, man. I don't care who you are.
right.
People, I don't know. People have these attachment issues. That's just insane.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
right. And I can't let you come back because if something happens, it's not on you, it's on me. I knew who you was. If you come in my house and steal and you'd have stolen from everybody else in the family or in the group of friends or whatever, and we all know this that you a fucking thief, and then I leave you in the house while I go. Hey, listen, it's on me because I knew, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So nah, we got to start taking accountability for those type of things,
You gotta
man.
start taking accountability for sure. Yeah. Cause I feel like our ancestors, man, once they found out some stuff like that, you was banished. You was outcast, to say the least. You know what I'm saying? Now we protecting them.
Yeah, yeah,
Upside down world, man.
yeah. Oh, he was,
Upside.
he had that happen to him, and it's it happened to me too. And I've had those conversations with people just attempting to comfort me by telling me that it's okay that it happened. You know what I'm saying? Like it happened to them. It happened to the person who abused me also. And like this is a thing that goes on. And it's like, what the fuck? What? I'm saying? No, gang.
Right, right. Yeah, man.
But that's why we gotta have these discussions. No one is above correction, above reproach. We have to hold those people accountable. And if we hold them accountable and everybody's standing on it, guess what? They may actually look in the mirror, you know? And I've seen this happen several times with a couple of different people who they was just enabled throughout their entire life, right? Like my nephew's and niece's mother, like my brother enabled this woman to cause constant toxicity and abuse. So he ended up snapping, couldn't take no more, smashed her head off the damn fireplace. And he's not abusive. He's not the type to like, you know what I'm saying? This is why she was able to get away with certain shit too.
Mm-hmm.
But her friends wouldn't say nothing to her. Her mom wouldn't say nothing to her. The only person that would even attempt to say anything was her dad, but he also was, in recovery and you know what I mean, AA and did all that whole thing because he was a huge alcoholic and all that stuff. But he went through some healing, and that's why it was easy for him to just look at her and be like, "No, you messed up. This ain't, you know what I'm saying? This ain't right." But nobody else would do that. So when he did it, or when I did it, you know what I'm saying? We was always the bad guy. Like I was always the bad guy in her eyes. Not now, but then I was the bad guy because I check her fast and quick and in a hurry. Listen, first of all, I don't give a fuck how mad you are at my brother. Don't touch my shit. You ain't gonna
Mm-hmm.
break my motherfucking PlayStation and TV and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? And she would do that. And he'd just go buy another one. Every tax season, he'd get a bigger TV, 75-inch, 80-inch TV. She'd smash the shit anytime she's upset or angry. Smash his video game. He'll just buy another one. Fuck that. Listen, don't touch my shit or I'm gonna break something that you hold most dear. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I've had to threaten her with stuff like that. Just holding even something as small as my bag of weed, which I could just buy another one or get another bag. No, I'm not enabling you like that. If you take that, it's not yours. I understand you in a fight with my brother. That's cool. I'm over here to smoke with y'all. We can sit down, smoke, and chill and hang out. But if you take that, I'm gonna smash that fucking TV that you're holding, that you're clutching so tight to your arms. You know, like I don't care. Like your grandmother's ashes are sitting up there on the mantle. I'll throw that shit in the fucking street. I don't give a damn. You can call it disrespecting the dead or whatever you want to call it. It's you that's going to make that decision, because I'm not just doing it just because I want to be toxic. I'm doing it because you're doing something to me. And would I handle that the same way now? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? I have a better way of, communicating now. But then it was like, I ain't about to put up with that shit. You don't lost your mind. So, but he would enable that shit, man. And that's why things like that happen. Damn, that's why he went through those type of things. For 12 years, he dealt with that. And even after they split up, broke up, he was still dealing with that. She would take her car, because I moved into the spot right across the hall from him. She would take her car. I recorded it. She'd take her car and side wind up against his shit while it was parked outside. Made sure she didn't hit my car, though. She made sure she didn't hit my car, because I'll call my cousin on your ass. She's quick. She loved to fight. She loved to fight. And she been waiting to fight you. So, and I've told her this before. I'll call my cousin and fuck you up. And I'll tell you right now, you ain't gonna get but one time to put your motherfucking hands on me, because I'm gonna treat you like a goddamn man. I don't, you know what I'm saying? You got no right putting your hands on nobody. But you ain't gonna do that to me. Not gonna happen, gang. You gonna get treated just like I would treat any man in the street that just decide he gonna put his hands on me. He gonna get everything that comes with it. You know what I'm saying? You can call me whatever you want to call me. I ain't no motherfucking woman beater. I'm an everybody beater. You know what I'm saying? I don't discriminate. You know what I'm saying? A dog bit me when I was younger. I bit that fucking dog right back, and I bit him hard. You understand me? That dog never messed with me again.
Dog fight. Crazy.
Hey, listen, man. Every time we walking by that damn gate, the dog just hop up on the fence. And I didn't notice the damn dog. And he nipped me in my motherfucking hand. Listen, okay. I hopped that gate and bit the fuck out of that dog. That dog, every time I came, he never even approached the fence anymore.
That's funny. That's funny as hell. Why you bite him man on the back?
I think it was somewhere on his face. It was like his ear or something.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he squirmed out of it, so I grabbed his tail and I grabbed his leg and I bit his ass on the leg too. Had a mouth full of hair. But I sunk my teeth in. Bro. Like I drew blood. I'm not, because you had no right. I wasn't bothering you. Same thing with that damn cat. Scratched me for no reason while I was petting it. I took a piece of chalk and shoved it in a pencil and I shoved it right up that cat's ass. That cat never bothered me again. You understand? I was being nice. I'm petting you and you, nah, gang, that ain't right. So I've always been like that. I was 8 years old with the dog. I was 9 with the cat. You know what I'm saying? No, 7 with the cat and 9 with the dog. Excuse me. So, and at this time I still was being bullied by humans. I didn't have that same, thing, because I loved people and I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to fight or do none of that. I didn't stop getting bullied till I was 10. My last ass whooping was 10 years old. After that, I started swinging back. Somebody just said, bro, just who gives a fuck? Just swing anyway. Get your ass whooped. You've been getting your ass whooped. You might as well at least hit them back. And something clicked up there when they said that. And ever since then, I've been undefeated ever since. Fuck it. I said, okay, I'm just going to swing. And I didn't know I had knockout power. But, fuck that, man. We live in a society where we're supposed to accept the toxicity and just
exactly
roll with the punches.
Exactly. And that's the part of that's the hard part about it, man. With this consciousness journey is knowing what you know and having to still just come out and act like you don't know what you know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's draining. That within itself is draining.
facts.
You know. Uh,
And who wants to feel drained?
mhm.
No.
But yeah, God, let's get into this last one.
Yeah, this last one, man, is a good one. Jordan Peterson, man, he doubled down on everything that we've already watched. Anybody who know Jordan Peterson, he's a beast. He know what he be talking about.
Most people who abused their children were abused as children. But most people who are abused as children do not abuse their children. And the reason for that is because if you were abused, there's two lessons you can learn from that. One is identify with the abuser. The other is don't. Right, exactly. And if this didn't happen, every single family would be abusive to the core very rapidly. Some of the best people I know, and I mean that literally, are people who had childhood so absolutely abysmal that virtually anything they would have done in consequence could have been justified. And they chose not to turn into the predators of others. And that was a choice, and often one that caused them to reevaluate themselves right down to the bottom of their soul. Most people who abused their children were abused.
Yep. They chose. They chose not to go down that path, bro. Like,
Mhm.
man, that's so important. They chose to, he said, down to the very depths of their soul, to the bottom of their soul. Like, I felt that because why would I want to cause my son the same pain that I went through? Why would you want to cause your daughter any pain that you went through? You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? I came up with this saying, and I had to copyright this, but a good parent or a good parent wants, and I'm adding the good parent stuff, but it's really the saying is, you want your child to hit every target that you missed and to miss every mistake that you hit. Right?
Mm.
So obviously that's an impossibility, right? And we get that. But if you aim for that, guess how many of those mistakes your child will miss? And think of how many targets they will hit just because that's your intentions. That's not to say they're not going to make any mistakes or make the same mistakes that you did, but it won't
Mhm.
be as many, right? And then if we look back in history or of our family or our people, look how many mistakes they made because they didn't have
Mhm.
the intentions to avoid them.
Mhm.
That's a powerful statement. A good parent's going to want their child to hit every target that they missed and to miss every mistake that they made, that they hit, excuse me. Right? So that just came
Facts.
to me, some years back, and it was like, damn, that's what I want for my children, man. I want them, they hadn't even gotten here yet, and that popped into my head. If I can at least have the aim for them to hit every target I missed, that's a positive target, bullseye. Boom, you did that. You became the best version of yourself or whatever. And to miss every mistake that I made, gang banging, you know, robbing, stealing, drug dealing, whatever, right? And they miss all those mistakes and they hit all the targets. Woo. You know what I'm saying? What we working with here, gang, right? So that should be the aim, at least, anyway. Not to
Yep.
say they're not gonna make mistakes of their own, or possibly maybe even repeat some of the mistakes that you did
Mhm.
make. However, your intentions that they don't hit those, they're gonna hit a lot less of them.
Yep,
You know?
aim
That'll
high.
hit every single fucking one down the line. Like my mother hit every mistake my grandmother made that her mom made. She hit every single mistake and missed every goddamn target. Failed miserably. Right? That don't make her a bad person. It just if her
Mhm,
intentions weren't there, you know, that's what happens. Same thing.
mhm.
Her mother, same thing. She hit every mistake that her parents made and missed every target that they missed.
Mhm. But like I said, it goes back to, look, the whole world needs some healing, bro. Healing and re-education. You know what I'm saying? Because if nobody ever taught them to fix those problems, they don't know how to. They
Exactly.
just gonna keep passing it on. They never learn how to, fix those problems. So
Exactly. You right.
that's why I say, it's up to us and people like us to break these generational curses and stop these lies and educate ourselves and the future of us the best that we can, so we can just stop keeping the same cycle going.
Yeah. Mm,
Uh,
yeah. Shout out to our queen sisters who are not with us today.
yeah, shout out to the goddesses.
Some good insight, man. So shout out to the goddesses wherever y'all are, enjoying your
Mhm.
peace, enjoying your life. But man,
Yeah,
it's a powerful
um,
topic, y'all.
yeah, it is, bro. And need to be, need to be discussed. It need to be put out there. Everybody
Yeah,
that watch this now, let them, hit the like button for us and share it if possible. These conversations need to be had more and more and more.
that's right.
Yeah.
Everybody avoids these conversations. They're too tough to deal with, and they're really not tough. They just look like they just seem that way on the surface. And I know from experience because I never wanted to do therapy. Now therapy is my life, right? I love therapy. Bought
And
myself a
hopefully it
membership.
should encourage somebody to say, you know what, dang, they right. I do feel
Yeah,
like coming to the party is wrong. It never did sit right with me, but I just go along with it because don't nobody else say nothing. I'm gonna say something you know what I'm saying?
right.
Hopefully it
Yeah,
gets somebody that energy, that that encouragement.
yeah. And even if it don't, like most of the people gonna be like, oh man, you wrong. You shouldn't have outed him like that. And we all know he's a fucked up individual, but you didn't have to. We was all having a good time and a cookout. These are the conversations I've had too. But there's that
Look,
always.
I want to say this. I want to say this. I want to say this respectfully. If you are one of those people, let me look right in the camera for this. If you are one of those people that feel like, oh no, that's still family, I would like to give you the biggest middle finger that I possibly can. I'm not talking to you anyway. They taking me out my high vibe, bro. Anybody that feel like that, the biggest middle finger to you. You
Yeah,
part of the problem.
yeah, no,
Stop
yeah,
encouraging.
yeah. They are the problem because
They are the problem.
that person would likely go seek help in order to have their family in their life if somebody was to speak up. And what I was going to say is when you're going to have a lot of people in your family that say that, but there's always that one or two that's going to come to you and be like, or even speak up right then and there and be like, no, you right. Damn, I've been wanting to say that. I'm glad you said that. And you know what I mean? Or they're going to come to you and be like, hey, man, listen, what you said was so spot on and you right. And this shit is wrong. We shouldn't be inviting this man. Now there's two of y'all. Guess what? Y'all start a cookout and you don't invite those type of people. Now you just started a new tradition, a new holiday, you done started a whole new cycle.
Mhm.
And there it is. That's how it starts. But that person somebody's got to be brave to stand up and say this ain't right, and I'm changing it. And
Facts.
like we spent Native Feast alone for the past, I don't know how many years. You know what I'm saying? Was it 9 years now? We've only had 2 years somebody came by. But it's because we don't have the same traditions. We don't we don't operate the same way. We're not eating the same garbage, right? And people don't like that, you know? An
Mhm.
alcoholic's not going to come to the party if he's not allowed to drink. You
Right,
see what I
right.
mean? So if you ain't got no alcohol, and ain't no alcohol there, man, this is, it's a kids' party. They not gonna show up. That's just
Mhm.
the facts, right?
Yep.
So that's what is going down. Ain't no poisons that we're introducing or putting, you know what I mean? And so people don't show up. That's why this year we made it real small and simple. We wasn't expecting nobody. And all these years we was doing something extravagant. I said, you know what? I'm wasting my goddamn energy and time.
Mhm.
What I'm doing, this is meant for like the tribe. When we start, you know what I'm saying? That's what it's meant for. It wasn't even meant for these people. They not even on the
Mhm.
same frequency.
Yeah, facts, facts.
Not to say
Yep.
that anything bad about them, it's just they not on that frequency, and that's okay. You on
Just
channel
not
three,
tuned
I'm
in.
on channel two,
Yep, just not tuned into the same station.
right?
That's it.
And
That's
that's
all.
all.
Yep. Yep. But,
But yeah, bro. Closing thoughts, man,
it,
on toxic
um,
parents being above correction.
so my closing thoughts, brother, is just people, man, just you gotta look at the bigger picture of things. If it don't matter who it is in your life, if they stop in your elevation and you know it and you feel it deep in your soul, but you allowing society to tell you you can't cut these people off, no matter who it is, because of uh, whatever reason, then you just gonna have to find that strength. You're gonna have to just really take some time to go within and realize, like, even if you feel like you can't cut them off completely, take a break. Take a break. Give yourself some space. You know what I'm saying? And if they can't even give you that, then that should be kind of a red flag, I think. You know, because to me, it was always something wrong if people can't give you some time to yourself. They that dependent on you or that needy of you, or they can't give you some time to yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's to me, that's a red flag. I think I used to have that conversation with my brother. I would tell him all the time. This was even before like getting like conscious for real. I would tell him, bro, you gotta take some time out to yourself to just meditate for an hour. I don't even think I used meditate at the time. I think I just told him just go in your room, close the door, and just relax for an hour, bro. Yeah, man, I can't do it because somebody always calling my phone for this. Like, damn, they can't give you an hour to like for you to recharge. So I just always felt it was something wrong with that. But yeah, just you just gotta go within family and know what you and do what's best for you, no matter what. As long as it's not nothing unrighteous. You know what I'm saying? But uh, man, it like they say, it be the ones closest to you. That'll hold you back. So keep that in mind. You know.
Facts, facts. I say, yeah. All I can really say, to piggyback on that is you got to go within and you got to do what's best for you. Because at the end of the day, you came in this world alone and you're going to go out alone. 9 times out of 10, you're going out alone. You know, it doesn't happen. You go out with other people, a mass, a building collapse or something, y'all all go out together. Yeah, that happens. But we not talking about that. We talking about the spirit is going to be alone. And when you come into this world, you come in alone. You don't come in this world, not even with a twin. Your twin has to wait, or you have to wait. Somebody got to go down that tunnel all by themselves, right? So you got to do what's best for you. It don't matter what these other people think or how they feel. They're gonna always project their feelings onto you, and they want you to conform to what they see for you or what they see for the family. And
Mm-hmm.
to them, family is everything, but that may not even be your real family. You just connected
Facts.
by blood, you know.
Facts. Facts. Facts.
So
Excellent point.
your family is not always what what the definition of family is. And you go look up the definition of family, people, you'll see that not a lot of people in your family fit that description.
Facts.
Everybody got a what's it called, an abuser, right? An abuser of a sexual abuser. Everybody got a thief, a drug addict, or alcoholic, or something. You know what I mean? Just a deadbeat, a low. Listen, the list goes on and on. We all have that. And when you start actually looking up these definitions of these words, that's not what family is. You got to go and create what you see family for you. That's what
Facts.
that's what I did. That's what the brother Jay Hooks the Great did. That's what the Queen Oracle did. That's what Dr. Sublime did. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to do that. And we got to go and find our family. And no matter what, we don't bring that toxicity from our original family into our new family, because we know where that leads,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I can piggyback off of that and to kind of add to that. So if you watching this now or later, whenever you watch this, it could be 20 years from now, please do yourself a favor and live life for you, because at the end of the day, nobody's going to be
Facts.
responsible for how your kids get brought up or how you perceive things. Only you. That's why I have this saying, only you can prevent forest fires. you
I
know
was just thinking that you said.
I took that from Smokey the Bear, but hey, listen, it's true. Apply that to your life. Only you can prevent forest fires, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Not up to nobody else. This is your forest. You control, you know, the narrative.
Facts. I
Yeah.
say. I say. Uh, until the next time, family.
Yes.
I do want to apologize to everybody too. My energy off today, but y'all know that's how it be. Sometimes you gotta recharge and all that. But not a good cook. And until the next time, family.
Yes. Yes. I am Speculum Amulo. We appreciate y'all stopping by. Make sure y'all smash that like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe if you haven't already. And make sure y'all tune in every Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We cook like this every Sunday. And we're going to have something special coming. We got something special coming down the pipe for y'all. So just stay tuned and, keep continuing to rock out, as best you can, and be the best version of yourself, man. Don't forget to look in that mirror for the change you want to see and love your journey.
I say. I say.
Ashe.
Peace.
Until next time, family. Peace, peace.